Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Jewell with the CTE Foundation. I'm here with Daniel Villagomez from PCD. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So Daniel is here to talk to us a little bit about his career and a little bit of a show and tell too. You're at work right now and you're going to show us some of the wiring systems that you guys set up. Why don't we just kick it off with you telling us what PCD Incorporated does and what you specifically do there as a senior installer.
Yeah, PCD Incorporated is an audio and video integrator. What that means is we work on a lot of performing arts centers, conference rooms, anything that needs audio and video integration. And we pretty much do everything from pulling the wire, installing, and commissioning these elaborate systems.
Okay, now how did you get into a job like that?
It's funny that you ask. It actually happened, it was not planned. It happened over a summer. I was taking a semester off the Santa Rosa Junior College, and it was a summer job that turned into a career.
And what is it about your job that you think you really enjoy?
I enjoy the process and the always changing technology. So I always have to keep up to date with certain video and audio technology that's always changing, and it keeps it very fresh and interesting for me.
Yeah, you know, I used to work, it's different, but I used to work selling electronics, and that actually was one of those things that I just love to do. I love to keep up with that technology and kind of be the guy that knew everything, you know, knew cable numbers and battery numbers and all that stuff. So I totally get that. And I assume it's just one of those like really good feelings, especially if you're on site and you have this big project and everything gets all set up and you're just like, it all works. This is great. Yeah.
That's correct. Absolutely.
One of the questions I have for you is the kind of skills that somebody needs in order to do the job that you do. So, you know, you're obviously good at it as a senior installer, but if somebody were kind of exploring careers right now, what would you say are those key skills that somebody would need in order to be successful?
I would say essential electronic skills, and what I mean by that, specifically taking some general classes on how electricity works, close contacts, things like that. But if I wanted to be more specific, some certifications that would really help out would be a CTS certification, which is a Certified Technology Specialist. And they pretty much cover everything and every type of what we do. What I mean by that is cabling, systems, and processes on how to install it.
So did you know any of that going into your job when you first got it, or is that something that PCD trained you on?
I didn't know anything about audio and video.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I was just taking general ed, and I was thinking more of getting into an automotive technician position when I was going to the JC. And during the summer, I took on a summer job, which was just entailed helping PCD with labor, just cutting down cardboard, pulling a little bit of cable, assisting the crew that was working for PCD, and that I wanted to try this type of job out. And PCD actually helped me and trained me throughout the process to get to where I'm at now.
Did they help you get those certifications that you were talking about?
Yes, they supported me in signing up for the certifications, and they also sent me through an apprenticeship program, which helped out with the basic hands-on skills and background knowledge that I need to perform my job. So yes. Okay,
well that's good. Being the fact that a lot of the people who are watching this video are going to be students, mainly high school students, they're kind of thinking to themselves, do I want to follow in something like this? Is PCD right now hiring, and are those opportunities that you had also available for new people coming into the company?
I believe so. Unfortunately, this COVID situation has made it a little bit difficult for us to bring on new people. But as work starts picking up, yes, PCD is one of those companies that's constantly looking for fresh, young people to come in, and then we'll train them up to get to a level where they're able to install and commission systems, certify them, etc.
Okay. Let me ask you a side question here. What is one of your favorite installation jobs that you've done?
Favorite installation job?
Yeah.
I would say my favorite jobs are the performing arts centers.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, Burbank Auditorium here at the Santa Rosa JC.
Mm-hmm.
I was a part of running one at Midtown Sacramento. I believe it was called Sophia Performing Arts Center. That one was pretty fun. So those are my favorite because they're longer jobs. They're very interactive, and you get to learn about, you get to touch everything. And what I mean by that is a little bit of video, a little bit of audio, and you get to see it all come to life.
That's really cool. Now, can you show us some of the equipment that you work on? I see you're in the shop right there.
Yeah, so let's see, I'm gonna move my camera here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is one of the cabinets that I typically work on, and what I mean by that is I will do wiring here, like for audio lines, audio processing, and I pretty much will take a plan set like you see here,
Mm-hmm.
and translate the information that's on here to actual cable wiring and landing, which is what you would see. Sorry about that. My camera is what you see here.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna just assume, but I assume that equipment is pretty high end and pretty expensive, huh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
by the end of the day, these cabinets full of all this expensive equipment, pretty much, ends up in the hundreds of thousands once all the equipment and all the wiring is in there. Just
wow.
one 7 by 3 feet by 3 feet deep cabinet.
Wow. Do you do all of that on site, or is a lot of that work kind of this pre-setup work that you do at the shop there?
That's a good question. It's a third and 2/3. What I mean by that, a third of the work is done here at the shop. So I do some pre-setup, pre-loading of the gear, pre-wiring of the gear.
Mm-hmm.
Once I get it to a point where I've done all that I can do here, that includes inner rack wiring, testing, and making sure that all the gear is functional, then I will get it ready for shipping, and then we'll ship it out to the site, and then I'll go out to the site and land all the cables there.
Do you test it while you're there in the shop, or do you have to test it basically in the field?
We test it at both locations.
Okay.
We test it prior to it going out from the shop to make sure that everything's functional and working properly. And then once we're done landing all the cables in the field, we also test it and many times certify the cables.
What does that mean, certify the cables?
Pretty much give it a certified test report, pretty much showing the capacity and bandwidth for some cables and signal levels. So
it sounds like, I'm kind of a bit of one of those techie people who, when I see a setup like that, I kind of geek out, and I love audio video equipment myself. And I would assume that sort of feeling is the type of person that you want at PCD, right? Like that, if you're going to get new people in to grow throughout the company, you want that person who just kind of gets excited and geeks out with AV equipment like that, right?
Absolutely.
Like okay.
Absolutely, yes.
I'm not asking for a job. I just want to know. But Well, I appreciate it so much. I do want to ask you one last question, though. I'm hoping that you can leave the students who are watching this with just a piece of advice, any piece of advice that you've learned along your path that might be able to help them as they're in high school, about to move forward.
I'd say the biggest piece of advice for me, for my experience, was just to keep an open mind and not be afraid to get into something you're unsure about. What I mean by that is, out of high school, I was expecting to do something completely different, and a summer job turned into a career, and now I love what I do. Yeah. I enjoy coming to work every day and getting to wire and then play with it once it's all wired up and running.
Cool. All right. Well, Daniel, I really appreciate it. I want to thank you. I want to thank PCD for taking the time here to speak with us.
Thank you, Brandon.